Thank you, Senator, for being here. I just moved to Iowa from New Orleans, and as I'm making my decision about who I want to represent us as president, what will you do as president to help in the rebuilding process in the Gulf Coast?
Well, can you all hear the question back there? Okay. The first thing you should know is I announced my presidential campaign for the 9th Ward of New Orleans. I think we don't need a surge in Baghdad, we need a surge in New Orleans. We need to be there for the people of New Orleans whose lives have been devastated by this hurricane. Let me be very specific. Here's what I would do as president. One is I would rebuild the infrastructure of New Orleans, which has to be done for people to return. Hospitals, schools, less than half the schools in New Orleans are open again. So that's one thing. Second, New Orleans has to be safe again. The crime rate has gone up dramatically. It makes people nervous about living there or coming back. We need to help them. There are about 700 police officers short. We ought to help them provide those police officers. We also have to rebuild the levees in a way that the people of New Orleans know that they're safe. And then finally, jobs. Because they can't come back if they don't have a place to go to the hospital or send their kids to school. They can't come back if the place is not safe, and they can't come back if they don't have a job. We made a huge mistake, we being Bush. Bush made a huge mistake in contracting these big contracts into jobs out to Halliburton and people like that. We should let the people of New Orleans rebuild their own city, and we ought to hire them to do it, paying them a good wage, a prevailing wage, with pension protection. We can create, I think we should create a minimum of 50,000 jobs in New Orleans by doing that. And then the last thing, which is not New Orleans specific, but is a lesson learned from New Orleans. I've got this idea, I call it Brownie's Law. You guys remember Brownie? It's a pretty radical concept, but I want to have a law in America that says that if you're going to be in charge of a national federal agency, you have to actually be competent to do the job and have some experience in it.